Now, if you're anything like me, when a new year is upon you, or a new month, or sometimes even a new week, you rethink everything about your life. You want to take on bigger challenges, try something new, complete some accomplishment you've put off in the past. And one of the things that can often pop up of being in your way is not having enough time. This is something you hear from people all the time. I don't have enough time. I'd love to write that book. I'd love to start that business. I'd love to change my health habits, but I just don't have enough time. Well, fortunately for you, today I'm going to share a whole list of things that you can quit in 2022, and I guarantee you will not lose a single positive thing from your life, even if you quit every single item on this list. So here we go. First up, we have overthinking and indecision. How many hours a week do you waste overthinking things? Perhaps you don't follow the touch at once email rule and you open your inbox, you scroll through, you read a message, and then you don't respond. You say, I'll think about it and get back to them. And because you're not in a position to respond later, maybe when you're standing in line somewhere, going for a walk, spending time with your family, what you ultimately end up doing is thinking this thing over and over and over again and wasting all sorts of brain power. Now, technically, is this wasted time? Maybe. But it's definitely wasted attention, and attention is even more valuable than time. If you have time but no attention because you're thinking about everything else, then you really are not in a good position. So how do you eliminate overthinking and indecision? Well, there's a couple things that have worked really well for me. The first is a phrase friends of mine shared with me, which is, if you're looking, you're booking. They travel a lot, even more than Gabby and I, and this saying for them is, if you're going online and you're going to look at flights or hotels or whatever else, you need to be with your credit card ready to book. You don't just look and think about it. If you're looking, you're booking. And I've taken this and applied it to other areas of life. I can remember going back not too long ago, actually, spending maybe 40 hours researching Bluetooth headphones, trying to figure out what the best ones were and, what fit my needs and all this sort of thing, only to realize that I couldn't actually return the ones I had just bought, and I wasn't going to buy a second pair. So that was 40 hours of my life I will never get back. This approach of if you're looking, you're booking has definitely changed things up for me. And the other one is the rule I already mentioned, the touch at once rule. So if you're going to open a piece of communication, email is probably the most common one of these. Don't open it unless you're ready to respond. Don't open things, absorb it all into your mind, and then just let it play around. That is a recipe for overthinking and indecision. The last thing you can do that's definitely helped me is to just practice being more decisive. Make quick decisions when they don't matter. You're out for dinner, someone says, what wine would you like to drink? Instead of looking through the whole menu and pretending like a Chardonnay versus a Riesling is really going to be the be-all and end-all of your evening, just ask for a white wine. Try that out. Or if you know your favorite grape, like for me, if they have a Malbec, I always order a Malbec, then just order that and don't think about it. Practice these little decisions, and the more you make them and train yourself to make decisions quickly, the more you'll realize they usually don't matter, and you'll end up being able to make bigger decisions quicker and easier and ultimately avoid getting stuck in indecision, which will free up a ton of your attention. Next up is fear and insecurity. Seems like a weird one, but if you really break it down, how much time do you waste because fear is controlling your actions? How many conversations do you avoid or actions do you put off because you don't believe in yourself enough, and this insecurity comes through and you avoid doing the things you really need to be doing? This can be one of the most devastating things to our time, attention, and energy, because naturally, if you have a lot of fear in your life and you don't have a lot of confidence, you're going to spend a lot of time doubting things, overthinking, putting things off, and that is the number one way to waste time in the least productive way possible. How do you deal with these? Well, it's a bit longer than I can cover in one video here, but I promise you this. If you stick with me on the channel this year, I am going to be sharing a ton of videos around these topics, dealing with fear, dealing with procrastination, overcoming insecurities, building up your self-confidence. Little known fact is actually my first 3 books that I wrote were around confidence, and I used to coach clients in this area. So there is a ton I can offer here in terms of building up your confidence and reducing insecurities, and we'll be doing that a lot this year. So if you waste a lot of time avoiding things or overthinking things because you don't believe in yourself to the level you really should, then stay tuned, subscribe, and check out videos later this year. Speaking of fear, the news is really awesome, right? You turn it on, you're like, oh, I'll just see what's happening in the world. And then 10 minutes later, you hate an entire group of people. You think everything's going to end. You're full of fear. You were going to go do this thing. You're like, I was going to go build a business and buy my dream home and stuff, but the world's going to end anyhow. Why would I want a beach house? It's just going to get flooded. Going to be attacked by killer sharks and stuff. And then the people from the other political party, the opposite of whatever I believe, they're probably going to come and murder me anyhow. So what's the point of it all? Let's watch more news. This is reassuring. I've got to be honest, watching the news can be one of my vices. I had eliminated it from my life for years. Actually, one of my earlier businesses was an anti-news publication, essentially, because I realized that what we take into our minds is the same as like what we eat. It has a massive impact on how we feel. So I wanted to create a publication that would really nurture people's minds and give them good stuff instead of all the junk out there. But in the last couple of years, especially since I've been living in Europe, I've got pulled into it, geopolitics and this and that, and there's something in it. It's like there's this little demon in our minds that like it, that gets drawn into tragedy and fear and all these sorts of things when you allow it in. So one of the things that I am committed to this year is not wasting time with the news, and something I would highly encourage you to think about as well. Think about how much time you spend not only maybe watching news and keeping up with things, and included with news, I would say like political-ish YouTube channels. It's always like, look at that other side, look how bad they are, right? Here's a little fun insight. Whatever side you watch, they're kind of the same. They're just all about drumming up the fear and the us versus them, because that gets a lot of clicks and a lot of views in 2022. But there it is. So think about how much more time you would have, not only not spending time following the news, but the attention you'd get back. Spending 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour stuck in fear and anxiety, maybe some hatred thrown in there, that is extremely draining. And when we talk about freeing up your time, you also want to think about freeing up your attention and mental energy. And those sorts of negative emotions can be extremely draining. Now, if you ask me, I think 2022 is a great year to stop doing things you hate doing. This includes work. Let's say you have a job and you don't like the work. You procrastinated. It's meaningless to you. There's no purpose to it. This is probably the best year ever to quit doing that. Okay, this is a big move to make in a year, to quit your job, to change things up entirely. But what's more of a waste of your time than spending 40 or more hours a week doing something you hate doing? Like, yeah, maybe some people spend half an hour or 2 hours on social media a day. That's a waste. But the main thing you're doing with your life is something you don't like doing. I think it might be time to stop doing that and stop wasting that time. And again, I am here to help. This is a topic I love to help people with. So stick around the channel for the coming year, and I will help you make this transition as well if that is something you want to do. Now, one of my favorite ways to waste time is going into zombie mode. You know zombie mode, right? It's usually after lunch in the afternoon. It can happen other times though, but you're kind of tired. You should probably go for a walk or just take a nap or read a book or something else while you sort of regain your energy. We all have these highs and lows throughout the day. That's totally normal, right? But instead of that, you find the chair, the chair or the sofa, you lie back, you start scrolling the phone. 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in, you don't know what you're watching. You don't know why you're watching it, but you're watching it. And then somehow, rather than recover your energy like you would if you took a nap or went for a walk, you feel less focus, less energy. And half an hour later, you're just like, blah. At some point, someone will come home or find you somewhere lying on the street, drool all over yourself, and you're like, I learn things on Instagram. Life is good. We know that mode. Infinite scrolling, hopping on TikTok an hour later. What the hell have I done with my time? That is one of the worst ways we can waste our time. Not only because it is just time gone, but it's not really proactive ways to recharge or relax, right? Sometimes people want to just relax and be brain dead. Cool, do something else. Like watch a 20-minute stand-up comedian bit, play a video game, chat with a friend, go for a walk, take a nap. Do something that is actually going to recharge you, because then you're getting time back, right? If you take this time, you use it to relax in a good way, you get that back essentially with more focus and energy later. If you go into zombie mode, you just come out on the other side worse than you started, and you definitely don't need that. And this last one is ambitious, but if you want to make 2022 the best year yet, then you got to tackle it, which is resistance and procrastination. How much time do we waste putting off what we really want to do? I started rereading The War of Art, a great book I highly recommend. And in the foreword to it, I forget who it was, but whoever was writing this foreword talked about how once when he was procrastinating writing, he decided to try on every item of clothing he has and then arrange them by seasons, and then arrange them in subcategories like formal springwear, casual springwear. You probably feel pretty good about yourself right now. Here's a published author who's apparently successful enough to write the foreword for a great book who procrastinates that much. Hopefully you are not that bad. I know I'm not, but we all have these moments, and these moments can certainly grow, where we are resisting what it is we're really meant to do, what we really want to do. And unfortunately, when we're resisting something or procrastinating, we don't tend to say, okay, I'm putting off writing this book. I feel resistance. I'm not going to write this book. So instead, I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go prepare my accounting. I'm going to go read some psychology books, etc. We go the opposite. So when we're resisting something, it's like if you're trying not to eat the kale, you're like, I know I should eat the kale, but it's too good for me. And then you just eat ice cream and candy bars instead. You don't go, no kale, but instead I'll have some normal salad, or I'll chew a carrot. It's like, no kale, candy bars, and ice cream. Why that happens, I don't know. But if you're anything like myself and most people, when you are putting off something you really are meant to be doing, you waste a ton of time and end up making really poor choices as well. How do you tackle resistance? Well, that is a huge topic, and again, something I already have some videos on and will be making a lot more on in the future. But just pay attention to that. If you catch yourself avoiding something, maybe start tracking that time. That might actually fix the resistance in the first place as well. My name is Dan. This is Dreams Around the World, and my mission here is to help you become the best version of yourself, all while creating the most awesome life possible for you and those you love. And that means helping you free up your time and attention by eliminating all the things we covered today. Lots of new videos on these topics coming out this year. So if you're not already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you actually get notified when new videos come out. And I will catch you in the next video soon. And if you'd like an extra nudge, I do have a free training I've put together for my fellow ENFPs. I'll include a link below in the description, and a card will pop up for that now. My name is Dan, this is Dreams Around the World, and my mission here is to help you become the best version of yourself, all while creating the most awesome life possible for you and those you love. Thank you for being here, thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video soon.